about to blow. I gotta stay on my hustle, you know that I'm grinding for sure. I came up right from the bottom, now they see me chasing my goals. Now they see me on the go, yeah. Now they see me on the road. It's time to hustle, yeah, it's time to grow. I'ma shoot for the stars and we aim for the gold. It's time to hustle, yeah, it's time to grow. It's time to hustle, yeah, it's time to grow.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Hustlers. I'm your host, Loss. We've got Dean on today from NRL Roast. I'm pretty excited for this one. How's things, bro?
Yeah, good, Carlos. How are you, man?
Yeah, very good, very good. Obviously, we're just talking about your wicked setup there, bro. You just want to do a quick explanation on that again?
Yeah, I was saying, so I work in a little shed out the back of my house, and I've got the boring old tin behind it, so need to jazz it up a bit and put a bit of wood up and some shelving, just some memorabilia and things I've collected over the years and things I'm sort of passionate about and wanted to talk about with other people. So
yeah, what do we got?
Yeah.
What do we got there behind you?
We've got some collector cards. So when I was a kid, rugby league collector cards. Yep. Daily Telegraph brought out like these team cards, photo cards of the things. 12th Man, listen to him as a kid as well. The old man had the old records, so I was a huge 12th Man. I got some footy boots signed by, I ran a little bit of a promo through the page. It was like classing Jeremy Lattimore as the GOAT, one of the greatest bench players of all time. And I actually met him on his retirement year. He was at the grand final and he was pissed as, but he came down from his hotel and gave me his last boots from his last game and signed them for me.
Oh, good.
Got some wrestling stuff, some cartoon things. My trophy of when I peaked in rugby league in under 16s. Just some jerseys in the background, my playing jerseys back when I was a kid. So just some little talking points, like if I have someone and like yourself and you go, oh, what's that? It brings up a bit of a talking point. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Hopefully, over time, speaking to people and gathering other stuff, it'll hopefully build up to be something a bit bigger.
John, all right there. Bro, I'm just going to make a quick shout out to our sponsor of this podcast, and it's called Keep the Change. Bro, I'd actually recommend signing up to it, man. And if you see anyone or want to put something out about it, it's just like a free email newsletter, bro. This guy putting money into promoting this thing that he'd actually gets nothing back from. Top Gun accountant, but he's actually a lad, runs a horse betting syndicate and shit like that. Like, he's a fucking good man. And he's teaching people about financial literacy, bro. So just teaching us about our money. I think I talked to a couple guests before, like growing up as a kid, bro. I always felt that I was taught that it was disrespectful to talk about money. It's like a sort of like a touchy point. And I think as a result of that, we kind of don't know how to look after our money as humans. So he's just throwing something out. He throws it out every Friday, bro. Good little lessons about how to look after your money, things that you don't know about it, little things like if you're going to get a car for a loan for a car, this is what you should know, that sort of shit, bro. So for everyone that wants to sign up to it, click the link in the description. It'll take you right there. Sign up for free. Start learning about your money. Bro, you just want to tell me a little bit about yourself? Obviously, everyone will know your page, the NRL Roast, massive page now. You got 165,000 followers on it. You haven't been going too long, I don't think, either. So what, you've done like 4 years, and not many people probably know the face behind it as much, bro. So if you want to just sort of give a bit of background on yourself.
Yeah, like you were talking about with the change, you grew up not talking about money. I sort of, never grew up talking about myself. Like, always, a bit humble. Like, you don't want to, talk yourself up or anything like that. So it's weird now. I've started to get a bit out there and talk to other people about the page, putting my face out there. It's weird actually coming on and saying, oh, what I've done. So yeah. I've always been a bit hidden, but I've never shied away from, like, if I've made a mistake or anything like that own up and say who I am and own up to what I've been doing behind the page. But just a small country kid, grew up in Central West New South Wales, a little town called Forbes. I was born and then moved to Parks, and I've lived here for about 25 years. Got a wife and 2 little girls here. A lot of people think, the page is very childish humor sometimes, and think I'm just a young guy, but I'm, in my mid-30s and married and had a life and things. So it's just, this was a little bit of a hobby, but I spent some time in retail and pubs and things like that before just sort of jumping into this as a bit of an escape, I suppose. Like, working in an office is boring as batshit, and I loved my rugby league. I grew up playing it since I was a little kid, and sort of stopped in my early 20s and sort of missed it, and just wanted to sort of engage with people, and started with my local club, just doing some things with them and sort of helping them promote on social media. I always had a fascination with social media and what it could do and how it could, engage with people that, without it, I wouldn't even know you. Like, I wouldn't have met you or anything like that. And now I get the chance to sit down and talk with someone across, in New Zealand that I would never have met. So, it has its great points. And I wanted to sort of use that to, bring my love for rugby league and humor and things like that. So just started doing it in my spare time. I always had a fascination with video editing and things like that. I grew up a MMA fan, and there was a page called MMA Roasted, comedian called Adam Hunter, and loved the Comedy Central roast. So that's where the name come from, the NRL roast. And just started, mucking around with some edits and funny pictures and things like that, and just took off. People got behind the page. People, loved the content, and I was like, oh, I'll keep doing it. Like, I was just doing it as a way to express, myself and get things out there, and people loved it. So I just like, I'll keep doing it. And then about 2.5 years ago, I got made redundant in my banking job. I was like, oh, maybe I can do something with this. And the very next day I had a call from a mate, and he said, we'd love you to come do some content with his business. So I started a business on my own and do contract content work. And it's enabled me to, keep doing the NRL roast on the side and as a bit of a hobby, and build it up to what it's been.
See, that's something, and that's a mindset that I'd say not a lot of people take into doing something like a page. And like, I even had someone ask me today, like, does he make income from the roast page and stuff? And I'm not sure. Do you or do you not?
Not directly from the page, like
a
little bit of ad revenue from the website.
Yeah.
Might do a sponsorship deal with someone, but it's more not taking an income. It's I ran a tipping comp with the guys at Shoe Grab, and they just said, hey, we'll just do some money. I'm like, sweet, you just put up the prizes. I don't want any money from you guys, but you're rewarding the fans. So, the fans can join the tipping comp. We'll run, promos for it all year, and they'll get a prize. So it's not me taking an income from it. I do some shirts and things every now and then, a little bit of money here and there, but I'm not pushing it in people's faces. So it's just sort of free content.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And like, I was sort of, what I said to them was, I'm assuming you didn't. And going off the pillars of like Garyvee, I'm not sure if you follow Garyvee a lot, but the jab, right hook, like, you're providing content, you're providing value for people. And in return, it sort of gives you, I guess, another avenue. Like, people will come to you for content and stuff because you're giving out free content. And now that's led you to be able to create a content creation business. So, and that's that of giving people free information that they find valuable. So I just find that interesting, bro.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a passion. So if you're passionate about it, and if people want to get into it to make money, you're going to be sorely disappointed. I did it for 3 years without anything, and it was, until someone came to me and said, hey, we want to offer you for your skills that you're doing. So it was me providing free content, getting it out there, showing what I can do, showing that it was different from what other people were doing at the time. And I've been rewarded for that to now able to create content for other people as well as for myself and have a bit of fun.
How fast did the page grow? Like, do you remember how quick you sort of hit 10K and all that sort of shit?
Pretty quick on Facebook. So we'll be big on Facebook before Instagram. So what was it? February 2017. I was doing a little bit before that. So I was doing some stuff for some other meme pages. And it wasn't until February that I went out on my own and started the roast. But probably like on Facebook, I think we went from like 0 to 50,000 or something in like 6 months.
You're kidding, bro.
Yeah, it was like big because at the time there was this feature on Facebook which was you could live stream and you could have a voting option, and the live votes would show up on the screen. So like I know it's really basic, but you know, so Facebook is when you think about it. Yeah. But it was like, let's say you put up Joey Johns versus Darren Lockyer, who was the GOAT, and people would vote. So you press the like button or the heart button for Joey and Lockyer, and it'd show up. So like 500 people like Joey and 400 like Darren. So it'd be like sharing and tagging and saying, get this bloke up there and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. From that, anyone that liked your video, you could actually invite to come like the page. Right. So those sort of posts would get like 1,000 to 2,000 votes. I would sit there and just go bang, invite to page, and just sit there and go through them all until they sort of like stopped it. Like there was after so many, they go, you've done too much. You can't invite any more people today.
Still like that?
Sorry?
It's still like that? Do you know, Facebook?
I think so. Yeah, I still get an invite every now and then to mates pages, like when they start like a mowing business or whatever. It says you've been invited to like this page. So I think you still can do it, but it sort of became a beast of its own. So, you know, people saw it and went, holy shit, you've gone from 0 to 10,000, 10,000 to 20. This must be a page to go follow and watch. So, you know, it sort of had a roll-on effect from that. Yeah. And it was just amazing. So, you know, took off. There was pages that even now I'm on level par with, and they've been around for like 10 years. And I've only been around 4. So it's crazy what it's become a beast of its own, really.
Yeah, well, like that's crazy. Especially like, do you do paid ads and stuff, or has it all come sort of organically?
It's all organic, which is even, you know, like I speak to other people and they're like, you know, we've ran ads and stuff, and I'm like, there are other ways around it. You know, you can, if you're passionate and you want to, you know, dedicate some time to it. And it's hard because people go, well, dedicate time. That's not going to get much reward. There's not much ROI from it. So it does take that. You got to have that passion for it. And knowing a few, you know, tricks of the trade with social media as well, like, you know, working in that space now has helped me. But having that passion for it at the beginning really helped.
Do you follow Garyvee?
I'm following. Yeah, I don't religiously go and watch him every day, but every now and then, if a video pops up in my feed of Garyvee, I'll stop and watch it every day.
Yeah. Is there certain things that either him or other people sort of preach that you kind of live by when growing your page?
You know, the big thing from Garyvee is you're never too old. Yep. Like I said, like people think I'm 20, or, you know, they look at the page and they go, this must be run by, you know, some 20-year-old or whatever. But I'm like, you know, I started the page in my early 30s, like, and, you know, if people want to look at it just as like a meme page that means nothing, that's fine. But it's really like about 10% of my life. Like I said, I'm married, I've got 2 kids. I've got other aspects of my life that I want to do. Have a content creation business. I run other stuff outside of the page. It is still a hobby. But yeah, you're never too old. Like, you know, if people are 20, like, you know, if you're 20 and you just want to start something, just start it. If you're 50 and you want to start something, just start it. So I always think, oh, am I too old? Like people look at me, I've got grey hairs and a beard, and, you know, do they want to be listening to some old dude talk about, you know, memey stuff? Well, who cares? I'm going to try it. And if they want to listen, they'll listen. If not, well, I'm talking about my passion. You're just listening. So
are you, like you obviously said before that you do kind of take a different approach. So, and you're doing different things when you started to other pages. Is one of those things sort of like, I don't know about what you think about on this, so I wanted to get your opinion on it, is the sort of, I guess traditional media now is sort of known as quite negative, and in the way that traditional media has always been, they kind of find the negative sort of thing and aspect in everything to kind of go on, if you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
trying to let the sort of player preach what they want to say, or it's almost like find the negative thing or find the thing that he fucked up with when he did the interview and focus on that.
Yeah. It's hard because, find a negative headline and more people are going to click on it. And for them, that's what they care about is the clicks, through to the web page and reading of the story. So sometimes there's like a negative headline that doesn't match up to the story. And it's, a bad way to do business. But again, it's, obviously profitable for them to do that.
Yeah.
So I think, with a lot of the fan run media that we have and player run media in some of the other pages is starting to come through, starting to break through and show that, hey, you don't have to have a negative headline to get clicked through. Even though the page is called The Roast, like when we first started, it was like taking the piss out of players when they did something funny on the field. It wasn't, if they did something off field, like, yeah, that was bad, but hey, let's, find a funny angle on it. Yeah. So it wasn't to focus on what they had done. It was like, yeah, they did it. So what? Like, let's have a bit of fun with it.
Well, that's good. That's what your mates do, like that's what you fuck around with your mates and you talk shit when they do something wrong. You take the piss out of it.
That's the whole thing. So like when, you after footy, you're on the piss and you're taking the piss out of your mate at, what they did on the field or whatever, the game's won, the game's over. Let's have a bit of fun. So that was the sort of thing that I wanted to come over. When I first started looking at other pages, it was more like, Bulldogs have lost. Here's a box of tissues, go cry about it. And I was like, oh, it's very basic. So it's like, okay, the Bulldogs lost, but like what angle, could we have a look at, like, and change it up? I was a huge fan of like Bleacher Report and things they were doing with the head swaps. And that was what I'd first started with, like just find a funny movie scene and put a head swap. One of the very first things I ever did was Josh Reynolds had been done for tripping, and he tripped Joel Thompson back in like 2016. Yep. And he tripped Joel Thompson, and it was the Bulldogs versus the Dragons. And so I was like, I'm going to, he'd been banned for like 3 matches or 6 matches or something. So I was like, I'm going to get the Karate Kid where he says, sweep the leg, and have Desi saying to him, sweep the leg. And then he gets up, sweeps the leg, and everyone's like, yeah, get him a body bag and all that sort of stuff. So I was like, it's a negative thing, like him tripping, but it's also a funny take on it. So that was what the whole page was designed around. And that was some of the different things that I was doing at the start that I hadn't seen anyone in like, obviously I was looking at Bleacher Report as inspiration and things like that, but no one around the NRL at the time were doing those sort of things regularly. Yeah. So I was like, I have the skills to do it, so I'm going to do it and see how it goes. And it took off.
I think that's a cool way to look at it as well. And I think of couple episodes ago, I did a guy, Joey Damon. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's like a comedian from New Zealand, Joe Damon, up and coming comedian. But he does TV personality and stuff like that. And he actually sat down and talked to me about if you look at the art of stand-up comedy, I'm fucking terrible at it. My sort of aspect, my way that I go about comedy, stand-up comedy is like, when you're sitting down with a group of your mates on the piss and you're talking shit, and it's the funniest thing you'll ever be a part of. It's funnier than any show you'll ever watch. It's funnier than anything you'll ever see or hear. And that was his way of approaching stand-up comedy. And so, like, to hear you say that, kind of like, after a game on the piss and you're talking shit and taking the piss out of your mates and stuff like that's that same sort of link where you take your own sort of spin on it and run with it. And I think that's what people sort of get connected with. They kind of connect themselves to authenticity and originality.
Yeah, like there's so many times like we'll put up a funny photo with a caption. It's like, day 3 of the bender or whatever it is, and people get in the comments and they're like, "This was you last in last season, or what, how about that game against whatever team? This was, you. So it's linking that to the common thing. I agree with that. You're on the piss, and let's say the next day you get back on it, it's like the second day. You think you're the funniest person in the world when you're around your mates. Everything you say, everyone's laughing at, and everyone's a stand-up comedian. So, yeah, I agree with Joe. I'll have to go back and listen to that.
Yeah, definitely have to listen to him, bro. He's a fucking good laugh. Have you had any issues with the NRL in terms of your name in that?
No, not funny enough, not the name. There was a period a couple of years ago, which was everyone seemed to be taking down a few pages that had NRL in the name. So I was a bit, but I don't think it was the NRL. I think it was just some fan that just wanted to rag on any sort of meme page or any news page that had NRL. So
Right.
at the end of the day, they don't own the words NRL. The letters NRL. I've had some issues when we've used their logos and things like that, which is fair. Like they're trademarked, and they don't want them, used in a certain way, and so that was fine. Content, every now and then I'll get hey, at the very early days when we were using a bit of their video, it was like, you can't use anything at all. I'm like, well, technically I can. Here's the law that says I can. And they're like, okay, but don't use too much. So it was like, okay, well, it was funny. I was like, oh, do you know the laws or not? So, but it's more the TV guys. I've had some issues with Channel 9 in the past.
Yeah.
They're not too happy about anyone using their vision. But ultimately, like, I'm not streaming. I don't want to stream games. I'm not streaming. I'm taking 10 seconds of video from a game, pointing out something funny that's happening, or highlighting something great that's happening in the game, and showcasing that, hey, it's on Channel 9 right now if you want to watch it. So, if I post about it and all these people are watching, going, or watching the feed, not watching the footy, and going, oh shit, there's something just great that happened in this game, they might be switching on. So ultimately, I think I'm helping the game grow, like helping other people see, and tune in. But I don't know, maybe they have another thought that I'm not, and I'm deteriorating the game. Who knows?
Well, I guess you're always going to get that,
Yeah.
What? Obviously, you're a big fan of the game. There's no doubt about that. What, in terms of like the rule changes and stuff that have come in recently, what are your thoughts on those? Like one I can think off the top of my head is the like reset. Like they just keep playing and they just go recount back to one.
Yeah, the 6 again. Look, I think with every fan, it's like we understand there's going to be a need to change rules every year, but the way this was implemented, they just clicked their fingers and said, we're going to change the rules. There was no trial of it. There was no, hey, let's in the trial games this year, let's just run it, see what happens. Or, for example, this week there's Tigers versus Bulldogs, which has no effect on the game, on the top 8. So you can trial some different things. And that they were talking about, I'm like, you've already done so much over the past couple of years in rule change. You probably don't need to do it right now, but spend an off season and talk about it, and don't just click your fingers and implement these rule changes. So look, it's going to take some time to see what happens with these rules, whether they sort of flatten out. When they first came in, there was talk of, these scores going up because of these rules and things like that. And it just, I wish they implemented it better than what they did.
Yeah, right. If you could, you had a hand in there and you could bring up your best couple of rule changes that you could bring in, what do you think you'd bring in?
Actually, I did a funny video. So I'm always about entertainment more than the game. But yeah. I said on this weekend with the game, you should just bring back biffs for every 10 minutes. Just let 2 guys box on. Just punch on. Just no repercussions at all. Just every 10 minutes, just stop the game, let 2 guys punch on, get it over and done with, and then continue the game. Halftime strip shows. Have the coaches go head to head in a strip show. We get a couple of good looking coaches this week, so that could be another way to bring fans to the game. Another one was, if there's no implication on the top 8 like this weekend in the Tigers Bulldogs game, bring a fan in from the stands. Just let them play in the front row if they want. Just get them to take a hit up off the back fence. But look, to be honest, I don't think I'd like to see it scale back a bit. Don't make a heap of changes. Just sort of, let the game flow. Let them play footy and stop changing the game.
Did you see rugby's obviously, because rugby's obviously bigger here. They've implemented the 50-22 kick. Did you see that?
I heard something about it, but it didn't look too much. So that's like a 40-20, yeah? But it's 50-22.
So, they've been inspired by the NRL, and they've brought in like a 50-22 kick, which is just like, that's unheard of. You don't often get very big rule changes in rugby union. So for something like that to come in, like, that's fucking massive.
But that's because there's so much focus on kicking in rugby union that would be, a game changer, wouldn't it? Is it 50-22 and then they get a line out?
Yeah, bro. So you get the line out back. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
crazy.
It's going to change the game in terms of how you defend your backfield, because you got good kickers and union, man. Like that's if you're sitting in those top teams, like you're in those 9, 10, 12 roles because you can kick as well. Like
yeah. So like even when a team's on their own 40, it's the opposition's going to have, the 3 drop back, the 2 wingers and the fullback drop back just to defend those corners. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're going to have to. I mean, the other ways you can probably go about it, which is what teams I've been a part of have done, like have their fullback and their 10 back. They leave their wingers up. So, and they just sit on the edges. And if they kick down the middle of the field, they kick down the middle of the field. And that's just, I mean, I always think about this too. Like the people think, rugby union, rugby league, play the same ball. It's pretty much the same sport. But fuck, it's so different. Like it's honestly,
absolutely.
It's completely different sports.
It's funny. I stopped playing rugby league when I was about 22, and due to work, like they played on Sundays, and I couldn't at the time. I needed to work, and I couldn't give up my Sundays for it. So the only option was to play footy was play on Saturdays, which was rugby union. And so I spent like 10 years playing rugby union. And as much as I prefer rugby league every single day, the atmosphere and the camaraderie around rugby union was so different, especially in my town. It didn't really matter if you were playing 3rd grade, 4th grade, whatever it was, you were part of the club. Yeah. And I remember with league, like when you're under 18s or reserve grade, you never mixed with the first graders. It was a totally separate sort of thing. So I loved rugby union more for the off-field stuff. Back at the pub, it was Saturday night, so you got Sunday to recover. You weren't turning up to work on Monday, piss. And so you still had that full day to recover. It was you're full part of the club. And just everyone around it just seemed, I felt more loved in that rugby union, especially in my town. But like every town's different. But yeah.
Well, I actually came over start of this year to play in the Shoot Shield. So I was living in Cronulla for a wee bit, and just I noticed a lot of differences in the game of union from here to there. Not in just how we play it, but just how it's perceived in the like community, bro. Like I was going around and my partner had one of her best friends living over there, and we go to them and her mates and stuff, and they were playing rugby and stuff like that, and we talk about the Waratahs, bro. They're Super Rugby team. Fucking 9 out of 10 people didn't even know who the Waratahs were.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's your Super Rugby team. Like that just shows you how much people didn't really like engage with union as opposed to league. I mean, it shows on the field, doesn't it? You think Sydney is the hub for rugby league. You look at obviously the Super Rugby side isn't going too well, and not a lot of fan base there. Eh?
No, it's funny. Like there's even a divide in Australia with rugby union. So like where I'm from in the country, it's sort of a working class, no one gets paid. You just play for the love of the game, where rugby league is, if you're playing first grade, you're on a, match payments or a contract, because you could go, down the road and play for another team for double the money or whatever. So the rugby union types here are all sort of farmers and workers and just guys that want to get on the piss on a Saturday after a hard week of work. Whereas in the city, it's more private school types and things like that. So, it's there's even a divide there of the types of rugby people that play rugby union here. So, yeah, I can imagine what it would be like from, you're probably the same over there in New Zealand. You play for the love of it, not, sort of private school where it's the only game you can play.
Yeah, well, see, that's another thing that I got told, which I didn't actually realize when I went over there, was that it was a private school played game. And obviously you got people turning up to the games in suits and drinking champagne, and you're like, geez. And union to us here in New Zealand, which I guess is why New Zealand is so good at union, is what league is in Australia. Like, it's every school, every public school, every kid grows up playing rugby. And like, it's not like I guess, in Sydney and in Australia, it's leagues more that, like all the public schools play league. Everyone plays league. You grow up.
Yeah.
Around.
Yeah. It's pretty like over central, like country New South Wales is just, it's all league. And when you grow up, it's like anyone can play league.
Yeah.
It's not, you have to be part of a certain society or anything like that. It's just, hey, you can run, you can pick up a ball, you can play rugby league, and that's the beauty of it. And that's, not so much down in like Victoria, but mostly, New South Wales and Queensland. That's all it is. So yeah, it's a game for everyone.
You get a lot of players messaging you, and like sort of asking for anything, or whether they can share their story or anything on your page. Or do you ever make contact with the players?
Yeah. It's more probably me messaging them, trying to get a story out or anything like that, or trying to get their story out. Because ultimately, like, we have a high engagement base. We have, a lot of fans following the page, and they want to see more stories about rugby league guys. So it's more me messaging them saying, hey, notice this story about you, or notice that you're doing this in the community. Do you want to have a chat about it? Or, whatever you're doing in football at the time, do you want to have a chat about it and things like that? Some of them are pretty hesitant to talk to me, and I can understand why. Like, they may see the page as a negative thing, like, if we're taking the mickey out of players, but it all comes from a good heart and trying to have a laugh. But some players might see the negative side of it and not want to associate themselves with it. They may see it as a hurt their career more than promote it. So, but there are, a couple of guys that will get around the page. They'll get around the content in the comments, sharing in their stories and stuff like that, tagging the other players saying this was you. Because at the end of the day, they're just like fans as well. They grew up, playing the game out of a passion and just happened to turn it into a career. So, there's guys that they played with that aren't, playing NRL, that they want to take the piss out of too. So, if I put up a post, they're sometimes in the comments tagging them, saying this was you and all that sort of stuff.
Is that what inspired you to, obviously you just started a podcast and, all that sort of, like you said, like putting your face to the page a little bit more. Because I guess as an outsider looking in, how could they know that without like someone putting their face to it and telling them that, you know what I mean? So has that sort of influenced why you're like, kind of like, I'm going to like share what, like, okay, this is what this page is actually about. This is who I am, and this is why I'm doing it.
Absolutely. Like, I felt, imagine if someone had messaged you and they didn't have a profile picture, and you couldn't see their face on their feed. You don't know who you're talking to. So I was like, well, I'll put my face out there a bit more. I've been hesitant to do it, just with some bad experiences with it in the past, and I'm not huge on talking about footy. There's people that talk footy way better than me. So, hey, I'm good at creating content without my face on there, without talking about it. I'm good at creating those still assets and some video stuff. So I can stick to that. But I was like, oh, well, there's other creators out there that are, way better than me at that. So that was the inspiration in starting that podcast, was to actually just talk to creators and see what they're doing. And, why did you start like me? Like, I'm passionate about it. Why are you passionate about it? And get their story out there. Along the way, well, if I talk to some athletes, I can talk to some athletes as well and get their story out there. So, yeah, it was. I'm starting to get my face out there a bit more. I'm trying to get a bit more confident in speaking in front of a camera as well. Like, for anyone that does, like, I actually suffer from anxiety. It'll. Even talking to you, I didn't sleep well last night. Like, thinking I've got to, come on and talk to you, and everyone goes, "Oh, you talk so well," and I'm like, "Yeah, but I just don't feel it." So, I've emceed weddings and things like that, but I've always been like, oh, I get real nervous and shaky and stuff like that. So it's a weird thing, but over time it'll get more confident and probably get more content out there, and that'll help with getting, athletes and other creators on the podcast and have a chat.
Well, like talking like this and stuff, it's an art. Like it's not sort of like I guess I actually, I'll take that back. People do have a gift with it. You know what I mean? You've definitely got a gift with like talking about things and the way you can articulate your words. Like, you definitely have a gift about it. I guess it's just with anything comes with time in the saddle. It's craft. It's
yeah. And the funny thing is, like, if someone wants to say, "Oh, do you want to come on and talk about footy?" I'm like, "No, not really," because I don't think what I will say is going to be of any benefit. Whereas someone said, "Hey, do you want to, like you, do you want to come on and chat about your experience in social media or why you started the page?" I'm like, every day of the week, I'll come on and talk that, because that's what I'm passionate. That's what I'm really passionate about. People go, "Oh, you're passionate about footy." Well, yeah, it is a passion, but that's not what I'm passionate about. It's the social media. It's the people behind it. Why are they doing it? What sort of content are we getting out there and things like that? That's what I care about.
If you were to talk to, because I preach this a lot about, obviously, content's the game now. If you were going to preach to like businesses about the importance of content, what would you say?
Humor is the big one. Like, you'll see, like, I've seen pages like share their story, and it's, they're floating along this line, and my content's not getting out there, and then they'll change it and add a bit of a humor, and it'll just go bang like that. Yeah. It's it doesn't have to be piss take humor like ours. It could be, you're on a building site. Get the guys doing TikToks, funny, dances or whatever while you're using the tools. Like, obviously there's health and safety. You don't want to be shooting a nail gun or something while you're, spinning around on a work site. But, there's ways you can do it. There's some really talented guy here in my town. His name's Dooley, and he started that. He was had a landscaping business, and he would just, start dancing on his every Friday. He'd be dancing, trying to get people involved and stuff. And he'd be just on a work site. He'd be promoting what he's doing, as in, like, "Oh, we're putting in this nice path and this nice lawn," or whatever. But he'd do it in a real humorous way, and everyone in the town would just love it. Like, obviously, he hasn't got the national people like watching him, but eventually he will. But everyone in town knows who he is. Everyone in town loves him. If you're thinking of landscaping, you automatically think of him first because of his social media and his humor. So I would say, if you're looking to get into, or you're a business wanting to utilize social media, it's free, doesn't cost you anything. Anyone can sign up for an Instagram, a Facebook page, Twitter page, whatever. It doesn't cost you anything. People sharing, talking about it, that's free advertising. Just utilize humor doing it, because people, the way the world is at the moment, so negative, like we talked about with traditional media, is fairly negative. That if you utilize humor, people are going to get behind it more, because the way we are now, we're all locked up. The world isn't great at the moment, so we need to escape. We need to jump on Instagram and laugh at something. So that's what I would say target at.
We talk about obviously I run a clothing brand as well. That's like my main thing. That's how I got into the social media side of things. It's actually why I started the podcast. It was called 138 Podcast originally. One Thread is my my business name, and we go off the pillars of providing value, and whether it be entertaining, educating, or documenting our journey. Those are the three pillars we work off, and obviously humor falls under entertainment because people find value in it. You made them laugh, you made them feel better, and then essentially when they want to go and do something, or it's like, say, if we take us for example, we tell them how to start a podcast, we tell them how to run a clothing business, I tell you how to find a manufacturer, I tell you how we plan our weeks in terms of content, which by the way is willy fucking nilly. Like, we don't have a plan, we just post when we feel like it. And then when you're cold and you need a hoodie, you think about us. Like, that's how it works. So guess it's the same with your mate doing the landscaping thing. And the other thing that comes with it is also what you just said, is it comes with time, eh? Like, it just doesn't happen straight away. Like, you have to keep going at it. Obviously there are people that it happens quickly and are lucky like you, like it happened really fast. But then there's also people like myself, like it's been 2 years and I've just shy of 10K on Instagram now, where it's gone. It's obviously a slow grind, but a lot of people give up halfway through that.
Yeah, it like, so funny that we look at followers as a way of measuring
Yeah,
what,
that's true. Yeah,
like whether it's good content or not. Like, am I creating the best content? Maybe not. Like, but I have that following behind where a lot of people, if you see a post and it's got 1 like, and you see a post that's very similar and it's got 1,000 likes, you're probably going to like the one that's got 1,000 likes more, because you want to be a part of that. You know, I want to be a part of the group that knows something, or the popular group. So, you know, I might throw something out and it bang, 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 people want to like it first. They want to comment first. And obviously then people will see it and go, oh, it must be a popular post, so I'll like it as well. Doesn't mean it's great content. It's just, you know, I'm getting some new stuff out there. But then you see other pages, you're like, someone spent like a day or two editing this video, filming all the stuff just for a 30-second video, and it gets like 10 likes. Be like, man, you know, some of the stuff that other people do out there is amazing, and they should just keep doing it just because they're passionate about it. They should just forget about followers, just get it out there, because eventually, you know, someone's going to see that and go, I like that way that someone's edited that. So who edited that? I want to give them some work. Or I really like that that actor or the model in that video, so I want to use that person. And yeah, providing that free content as well. You know, it's hard. Like, I just think, you know, if people just stick with their passion, I know it's hard, like if you're not making money from it, but you know, do it in your spare time. You should have that side, like this is the hustlers. So you should have that side hustle. You should be, you know, get a job if it means that you're doing something shitty that you don't like, just so you can do something that you do like in your spare time. Then just sort of ride that wave. Like I said, I was early 30s when this page started. So just because you're 20 and you're starting something and it's not, you know, I haven't got 100,000 followers, doesn't mean it's not going to be 100,000 followers in 10 years time.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. But who are you inspired by in terms of your content, and do you have like people you follow that give you good inspiration?
Yeah, like I said, the like Bleacher Report and things like those sort of pages that were providing news, but in a humorous way at the same time. They were a huge inspiration at the start. A lot of comedians. So I was, you know, I loved like Joe Rogan as the comedian before the podcaster. Loved his style of humor. Ricky Gervais is a big one. That dry sense of humor. That's what, you know, I built my page around. I still get comments now. I'll throw something out and they go, oh, that's dry. And I'm like, man, that's what the page is built around. So, Ricky Gervais is probably a big one. Like, he, you know, worked in a dead end job that he hated and ended up writing The Office and getting that out there and his career blowing up. So, any sort of comedian out there. I loved like the Comedy Central roasts. Like I said, that was part of my name. That was what it was about. That taking the piss out of each other. So if you go back and watch any of those, the comedians on there, there's like Amy Schumer, Anthony Jeselnik, guys like them that really funny. But yeah, some of the social media pages, like the guys at YKTR are killing it. I think like they got a really good mix of humor, real life takes, stories from fans, stories from players, ex-players, things like that. I do, like, I sort of keep an eye on their content almost every day, like, and either try and help, like I speak to some of the guys there and try and provide some value to them as well. And I think, you know, working together that can help both of us. But yeah, there's any sort of social content creator out there that's doing something, I'll look at them and be inspired by them.
Have you thought of like how next to sort of you're thinking of scaling your page? Like I was just thinking of something there when you're talking about Bleacher Report. There's a guy that Pat McPhee, and he owns a studio that I do my podcast usually in when we're not on lockdown. And I may get the name wrong here, but I'm pretty sure it was Mark Echo he was talking about. And they sold, he was part of a transaction that sold a blog to, I think it was Mark Echo in America. And they went over and they had this thing in New York, which at the time was actually Bleacher Report. I don't know if you've heard of it, like that. This is how they did it when they started, is they had like these cubicles and cubicles and cubicles of uni students. And they were all just writing up articles and writing up stuff and posting it and just like posting it. And they had like this tier system where like they were all doing it for free, in hope of if they were doing the best content, and they would get handpicked to be like at the next level up and whatever. And then you start getting paid and stuff like that. And that was how he got content at scale, at a cheap rate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's hard because I don't like asking people to work for free, even though when I look at the pay, like I've worked for free on the page for 4.5 years. I've just been lucky enough that the creativity that I was utilizing and the content I was doing, someone saw value in that and wanted to use my skills. So I get paid for my skills in doing content. I don't get paid for the page, but you know, if I would love to work with some writers and do some blog style content. Like I've had the blog now since I started, like 4 years, and updated every now and then, but it's never been a huge focus. I probably would want to bring it up. That's probably where I would do it. From that, then you can do, you know, write a blog, and then from that gives you an idea to do a video, and then from that it gives you another idea to do something else. So, but you know, trying to find people that are willing to work for free, and be willing to consistently provide content is hard. And you know, if anyone's out there that's listening that, you know, wants to write and wants their work out there, come see me because I can promote it for you. From that, then someone might go, oh, I like that person's writing. And we've got that audience that post something, throw it out there. Instead of you're just doing it and only getting seen by 100 people, you might throw it on there, might get seen by 1,000 or 2,000 people. And then just that one person might say and go, I really like that person's style. I want you to come and write for me and I'll pay you.
Have you ever put a post up saying this?
No, I haven't. No. Okay. Yeah, I have on through my story and stuff like that, but I should just do it again.
I can almost...
Again, I hate people. I hate asking people to work for free.
But it's like, I guess it's not like we're talking about passion. It's in a sense that you're trying to help someone feel their passion. You're almost trying to elevate them and their passion so they can do it to get paid. Because I'd almost put like this house on the fact that you would get over 500 replies to a post saying like, I want to start getting writers to talk on my page, because you have that following, you have that, like, it's like you're not just asking people to give you stuff to provide value to just you. You're also providing value to them. You remember that, because helping them. So I mean, fuck.
Yeah, I'll probably have to. I'll have a think about it and work out a strategy, like maybe in the off season to try and get some people in and really bolster that up for next season. But like I said, like I feel like I'm, you know, people have that perception of the page that makes a lot of money where it doesn't. Like, so me putting it out there feels like I'm just asking people to do work for me, and it sounds cheap, but I understand. Yeah, maybe there will be a lot of people that will be like, oh, I can see value and get value from the roast posting my stuff. So
I guess that
I'll have
just
to work out
yeah, bro. I guess that's just makes it all the more reason why it's important for you to start sharing your story, bro, so people can understand this. Because like I'm sitting here and listening to stuff that I would have definitely never known about this page unless we sat down and had a conversation, unless you posted it yourself. So I guess it's cool to and that's a sense in essence like why we do that, why I do this is to do this and to help well not to help but like to have people talk to about their stories and understand more about what it is behind the page and what it is behind who runs the page, or rather than okay, NRL roast, it's this big page, like, and that's it. All you do is footy, all you do is this, but it's not that. It's the guy that runs it and how he runs it and how his head ticks, because that's what's important. And I think that's what people find interesting.
Yeah, people want to. It's hard because I always like, no, I just want to keep the content. People don't want to hear my story, and I'm like, oh, I want to get my story out there, and I want to talk to other people and find out, you know, hey, can we work together? Can we? Can I help you? Can you help me? You know, what sort of content can you create for other pages and things like that? So, yeah, it'll take time, but I'll get my story out there, and hopefully people want to hear it.
Awesome, bro. Hey, look, I got a quick Q&A here. I'll pick the top 3 questions for you. Just to finish it off. So your favorite content to create?
Any sort of like head swap, like a win-loss. If a team wins, what was the story about them winning? You know, if it's a comeback or whatever the story is, in creating, using a movie scene, a funny movie scene, putting players' heads on that relates to it. Like, I think I have a good knack for doing that and knowing, good movies. I love old school comedies and things like that. So anytime I can get a scene from that, bring it in, relate it to rugby league, with a situation that happened in a game or, a situation that happened outside of the game, I think is the type of content that I love the most.
Yeah, nice. Your favorite player?
Growing up, a bit of a niche player, but Scott Goulet was a second rower for the Dragons. Yeah, see, a lot of people wouldn't know, but without him, I would never have played the game or grown up, even really watching the game. He came to our school, and he was like, I still remember, like as a kid, he felt like he was 8 feet tall and just huge. And he ran this training camp and gala day. And it was the first time I picked up first time I played football competitively, and absolutely fell in love with it. And then, like that year, they made the Dragons made the grand final, and he was playing in it. And I sat there and watched it. It was Tina Turner was there. It was like Simply the Best. It was like all the things in the 90s that you sort of remember around football, and it just, that's why I love the game. So he was my favorite player growing up. He wasn't the greatest player. He played for Australia and New South Wales and things, and played rugby union as well for Australia. Wasn't the greatest player, but he was just an idol. Like, coming to school, it was massive. These days, it's hard to go past like what Tommy Turbo's doing at the moment. Even though he is Manly, everyone grew up sort of hating Manly, but half my family followed Manly as well. So mum loves him. So, he's probably one of my favorite players. It just, when he picks up a ball, no matter, like, he'll turn nothing into something absolutely amazing. Like, not just like, break through a line and score a try. He will turn just a dumb play that seems to be going nowhere into some sort of magical highlight reel. And people just don't know how he does it. And this season's shown it. So I would say for this season, it's Tommy Turbo.
Who's your team?
I'm a Dragons man.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's sorry, it's not a Dragons fan. That's my favorite player, but
and the last one was your best upcoming player.
Geez, like this rookie class is pretty good. For this year, you got like Sam Walker, Josh Schuster. I would say one of them two, like probably Sam Walker. It feels like, you know, what he's done this year, and he'll probably end up getting rookie of the year. And I think he's like 19, and he feels like he's playing like a 20, 27, 28-year-old. So he might have a few quiet years over the next building in, but I think once he sort of hits his mid-20s, he's going to be something special. So yeah, Sammy Walker.
What do you think about young Reece Walsh?
Oh, mate, he's like Reece Lightning. He's a good looker. You can't go past that. But yeah, he's amazing. Like what he's done in such a short period of time. I think he's played like 15 games or something like that. Selected for Queensland. I know they were a bit lean on players, but it shows you the maturity that he has and things like that. And page that I follow, Rugby League Guru, he's amazing with his knowledge, but he put it up like was it last week when they were down and he wanted the ball. Like he's calling for the ball, he wants the ball, and that shows the maturity of a player at such a young age that, you know, game on the line, he wants the ball in his hands to try and win the game. That's something special you don't find in many players. So yeah, he's going to be, and at the Warriors too. Like, funny that he's never played in New Zealand, and there's like a whole team over the last couple of seasons that haven't played in New Zealand yet. And so, can imagine the when he gets that first game over there, the massive raps that everyone's going to give him when he goes back. So,
what were your thoughts on Compton, New Zealand, when that came out?
What's that? Sorry.
See the stuff circling around that they were saying like people wanted to bring the whole comps in New Zealand.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, look, as good as that would be, and sort of repaying the New Zealand fans because they deserve a lot more. It's never going to happen, but I think there's something like a magic round, or send a state of origin over there for the first time. Some finals games or something. The magic round's probably the best one. Just send a couple of rounds over there over the next couple of years, just to sort of repay them and give them a full weekend of footy. You know, send every player over there on the Tuesday or something like that. Spend the week there. You know, mix it in with all the schools and stuff running camps like they do. Like I know when a game comes out here, like it might go to Dubbo or something out here, and they'll go to 4 schools in the week leading up to it and go through and run gala days and camps and stuff like that. So, you know, imagine if they could do that over in New Zealand and pump that up over a full week, every club going over there, or even, you know, half a round, and then, you know, 2 months later have another half round go over the other teams that didn't go over the first time. And I think that would sort of, it's probably the most, it's got the most potential to happen. Yeah. Instead of like the whole comp's not going to go over there, but a whole round probably would. Yeah. So, you know, I think that would be, massive for the country.
I'm starting a petition for a magic round to be held in New Zealand. That's fucking out the gate. How good would that be? Yeah. Fuck.
Be massive, like just everyone talking about like, I don't know, what's the main rugby league town over there? Auckland, yeah. So, you know, just I could just imagine the hype around it. Overtake the rugby union for a weekend and just go full rugby league and repay them for missing out on footy for 2 years.
One of the best memories I had from like watching league in here, because my uncle, my mum's brother, is he's a long-serving Warrior, so he played for a long time for the Warriors. Stopped quite a few years ago now. His name's Jerome Ropati. And so my family's always been league, and like we're massive league family, and we went along to like the Auckland Nines and stuff when it was here. And I remember the first Auckland Nines, man, like that was one of the best things I've ever been to. And I was a young kid, and like just to see like full stadium at Eden Park, like all these people for a whole weekend, just backing the Warriors. Like it was just, and like the Warriors walking down the sideline, and everyone was just like yelling and cheering as they were walking into the sheds. Like it was cool to see because it's not something that happens in New Zealand a lot. League's obviously quite small here, so but I think imagine having that as like like in the middle of an NRL season, like having the actual Magic round there. Fuck, it'd be wicked, bro.
And like, I love the nines. I love that the concept. But even that, it's a little bit Mickey Mouse. It's not, not full teams. It's mostly some of the up and comers. Whereas you have a full round, you've got the best of the best, going at it in a proper game of rugby league. But yeah, that I remember that first Auckland. Was it like 2017, I think?
Yeah.
And it might have been early, but I remember there was one. It was like, everyone there was dressed up in the crowd. It was hilarious, and that's what we love as fans as well, seeing that. So, have a dress up day and have people out there just enjoying the day. That's good.
And there's an Auckland Nines. I don't know if you remember, and there's a kick legends comp, and like Mal Meninga and Carlos Spencer all kicked off against each other, and Andrew Johns before the final.
No, I didn't see that.
It was the year the Warriors were in the final of the Nines, bro.
Yeah, okay. I'll have to go back and try and find it on YouTube.
Like I'll send you a link to it, bro, because I actually kicked in it. Like they picked like a kid they picked some like a random person to do the kick with them all. And my mum entered me, and I ended up getting picked for it, man. And the just before the Auckland Lions final, I was kicking against Andrew Johns, Carlos Spencer, Daryl Halligan, Jonathan Thurston. We had this kicking comp and in front of a full stadium, and I was 17 years old. And
how'd you go?
Hitting bricks, bro.
So what was it like? Yeah, like a kicking goals or
kicking goals. So you had a minute, and you kicked from straight out in front, 30 meters out, and then you kicked from both sidelines, 30 meters out or 20 meters out, one of them, and then you kicked from 5 meters out from the try line on the sideline, like a curve kick.
Yeah, right.
You had 3-4 kicks, and you had to do them all in a minute. You put your hands up for one of the kicks, and that was your joker kick, which means you got double points for it. Each thing was worth different points, and so we just fired through them. We all just did a minute each. I think I came like third, beat JT. That was my claim to fame, bro.
Nice. Yeah, that's good.
Claim to fame.
I'd love to see this. Yeah.
I'll send you a link because I posted it not that long ago because I got Monty Beetham on the podcast, and he talked about he remembered emceeing it. And so I put like a little like throwback kind of us talking about it in the podcast, and then I did like a throwback and posted the actual kicking comp as well with it. I'll send you. It's like funny, man. It was. I remember it was like I was so excited for it. I was like this is so cool. Like can't wait to do this in front of a full stadium. And then as soon as I stepped down onto the grass, man, I felt sick. Like I was like Wednesday. It's like I wanted to throw up. Like I was like, holy shit, I'm actually doing this in front of so many people, bro. But yeah, no, obviously I was grateful for the experience. So many kids get to do that, man. So
yeah, that's amazing. And like, yeah, just that'll sit in your memory bank for the rest of your life. Like,
and then
cool.
JT gave me a singlet, gave it to my mom. She was stoked. So yeah, it's just a cool little memory bank, bro. But anyway, man, I just want to thank you for your time. Thank you for jumping on. Taking time out of your day to jump on a Random Kids podcast in New Zealand to talk about your journey and how you've grown your successful page. And I just wish you all the best for the future. I know you're going to do good things, and hopefully we can keep in touch after this because good conversations we've had. And I guess is there anything you want to finish off with?
Mate, no, again, yeah, grateful and appreciative of you jumping on. Like, you're living up to your name. Like, I only came across your page yesterday due to Jordan Ricky. You posted that reel on, and I jumped on that, and I was like, oh, I like that. And then, an hour later, you're in my DMs, and then the next day we're on a podcast together. So, you're definitely living up to the hustler name, and I have no doubt. Like, not that my word means anything, but I have no doubt that you'll be very big in the future, mate. So I'm very appreciative and grateful you got me on and wanted to listen to my story. And I'm glad I got to know a little bit about you as well. And we'll talk again in the future, no doubt.
Awesome. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
Thanks, bro. See you, man.